Adobe Premiere Pro or iMovie. If you're a professional photographer, you probably have access to one of these, if not both. But how do you choose which one is right for you? In this video, we're gonna go over a few basic pros and cons of each Adobe Premiere Pro and iMovie so that you can make an educated decision for yourself on which one is best for your video need. In order to deliver a finished video to a client, you're going to need some editing software, so let's get started and break it down for you. Just a quick note, the following video is actually the introduction of an editing course that I have coming out very soon. So be sure you head down to the description and sign up for my email list so that you know when that comes out. So a little backstory on me. I started filming in about 2018. And when I was choosing an editing platform, I had to consider a few things. So I'm gonna go through a list of things that I considered important when choosing an editing platform, and hopefully it can help you make an informed decision for yourself. Now, while there are a lot of choices out there for editing, including Adobe Premiere Pro, Apple iMovie, Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, when I was starting, I looked at two main editing platforms as the one I would use, and that was Premiere Pro or iMovie. And after trying both, I decided to go with Premiere Pro. So let's go over some pros and cons of Premiere Pro. Premiere is part of the Adobe Creative Suite. If you've already used Adobe products such as Photoshop and Lightroom, it's an easy transition into Premiere because they work similar. After I had created my film and I was ready to go through and color correct, I found it very intuitive. And I think that's because I already use Lightroom, and the color correcting in Premiere Pro is very similar to the color correcting in Adobe Lightroom, which I feel very comfortable with. So it was an easy transition when learning how to color correct, which helped because obviously there's a learning curve with every new thing that you learn. So taking color correcting off of the table was a huge plus. Premiere Pro is just a more robust program than iMovie. And what I mean by that is there are a lot more features as far as effects go, transitions, as far as graphics go, and the ability to pull my footage into different Adobe applications such as After Effects to create really enticing, exciting things for my clients. I also liked that they had audio editing right within the app. I didn't have to pull my audio into a completely different program and mess with it. I could edit my audio and create audio effects right within Premiere Pro. And last but not least, Adobe stock. Adobe has a lot of stock graphics and a lot of stock fonts and all of these items that you can use within your film to help enhance it. There are other platforms that you can go on and purchase a subscription so that you have access to graphics and access to different fonts. But because I already was subscribed to Adobe, that came free with my subscription, and that was a pro to me as well. So let's move on to some of the not so attractive qualities of Premiere Pro. Even though it's part of the Adobe suite, there is still going to be a learning curve. Yes, it might be less if you already use the Adobe products and you're familiar with how Adobe runs. It's going to be less of a learning curve for you. However, it is still something that you're going to need to practice, something that you're going to need to put some hours into to really get your workflow down to how you work efficiently. Another thing to consider is cost. Adobe is a monthly subscription, so there is going to be a cost every month. But again, I was already paying that to have Lightroom, Photoshop, InDesign, all the things that I already used. So Premiere just sort of came with that. But if you're not already buying that, that's something to consider. And with that, you know that Adobe loves updates. So there's constantly updates that you're needing to push through on your system, and sometimes they can be glitchy at first, so that is also a con. Premiere does require a lot of RAM, so you need to make sure that your computer that you're using is up to the specs that Adobe recommends. And last but not least, I find the autosave feature can be finicky sometimes, and I'm finding that I have to save myself quite a bit, which is not the end of the world. Breaking in really quick, hopefully you learned a lot about Premiere Pro. Before we move on to iMovie, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and tell me, have you ever tried iMovie before? How did it go? Okay, so let's switch gears to Apple iMovie. So iMovie is an application that comes with all Apple computers. It is even included on iPads and iPhones, which is very convenient. So that's pro number one. It's convenient because it's already included on your computer. There is no extra cost. iMovie is meant to be quick and simple, and there's less of a learning curve, which is a huge pro. But along with that, you might find that iMovie is lacking a little bit. It's not as robust as other platforms and is missing some key features that you might find yourself wanting to use. That's definitely something to consider. It's a great place to start, but if you're wanting to do more professional edits and more professional transitions and more professional graphics, you're going to have to look for a program that can handle that. Because it is an Apple program, you must have an Apple computer in order to use iMovie. So if you have a PC, obviously iMovie is not going to work for you. As I mentioned before, there are other programs you can look into, such as DaVinci Resolve and Final Cut Pro. When I was doing my research, I only looked into Premiere Pro and iMovie. Those were the options available to me at the time, and choosing Adobe, I do not regret that at all. There you have it, some pros and cons to both Adobe Premiere Pro and iMovie. Like I said, these are the two that most photographers will have access to. Which one you choose is 100% up to you. Use these pros and cons to help you make your decision. If you have any further questions, feel free to leave me a comment and I'm happy to help you out. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos all about how to add video to your photography business. See you next time.